Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope you had a good weekend and that the weather's nice where you are. Uh, it is also Monday in Colorado. And here we are again. I pulled out, this is a Fringeless for salvage weaving, which I started a few weeks ago. You may have seen it. I was testing this yarn, which I just realized I don't have here. Hopefully I won't run out. I was testing this white yarn and I thought I better keep going on this project. So, I don't have any wise words today. Let's just say that. I saw a lot of pretty birds this weekend. It's beautiful in Colorado, and my bird feeders pulled in some really beautiful birds, including western tanager, lazuli bunting, and I had orioles all weekend. They were so pretty. Those birds are migrating. So, I am happy that you all are here from all over California, New Hampshire, Cape Cod, Brooklyn. Has anyone kept track of how many weeks it's been now? I'm sure it's been at least 8 weeks in Colorado. Green Bay, Allen's Park. Hi, Alex. UK, hi, Anna. Grand Junction in Florida. Oh, Victoria Day in Canada. That's right. Today is a holiday. So happy Victoria Day to all my Canadian friends. It's nice of you to celebrate the Queen's birthday. Isn't that what Victoria Day is? Hope I'm not wrong there. It's not the current Queen, though, is it? Anyway, have a fabulous holiday. Kansas, Maryland, LA, and Texas, and hello, Nancy from Scotland, the muggy west of Scotland. Well, it must be getting warm if it's muggy. Texas and Nebraska. Welcome. You're welcome. Jocelyn said she's been reading Vanishing Fleece, which is a great book by Clara Parks. All of you should read it if you haven't. It's her latest book, Clara Parks, Parkes. Vanishing Fleece is the book. McKenna, great question. When you test a yarn, what is it you're looking for in the yarn? I'm looking for a good tapestry yarn. So I wrote a blog post, I think it's in January of 2018, called What Makes a Good Tapestry Yarn or something like that. Anyway, I'm looking for a yarn that is fairly firm, not too squishy, and I don't want the yarn to stretch in this direction. So this yarn This is Epic, this thinner colored yarn, and this is the yarn I'm testing. And they're quite similar actually, and neither one of them really has any stretch. If I pull it, if I relax it and pull it a little bit, I'm getting almost no stretch in the horizontal direction. So knitting yarns are fabulous in that they expand, they puff out and they expand this way. A lot of knitting yarns, because you want them to be fluffy and soft and to go back to their original shape so that your garment continues to fit and isn't all like stretched out and weird. That's great for knitting yarn. For tapestry yarn, I'm looking for a yarn that doesn't do that, because I don't want to struggle every single pick with putting a yarn into my shed that is changing dimensions all the time. Like, I don't want the yarn to be pulling back together once I weave it in, because it's going to screw up my salvages and it's going to be really hard to work with. So that's one of the primary things. That usually means that the yarn is fairly tightly spun, more worsted spun than woolen spun. And I also look for a yarn that has a lot of colors. This yarn hasn't been dyed yet, but they're talking about doing a good range of colors to start with and then adding more colors. So I think this yarn, Epic, comes in about 120 some colors. And of course, the yarn like Weaver's Bazaar now comes in over 200 colors, and Australian Tapestry Workshop yarn, I think, comes in like 400 colors. Appleton Crewel also. So I'm looking for yarns that actually act a lot like those yarns that are my favorites. The advantage of this yarn will be that it is going to be made in the United States with US-based sheep and US mills, so it's supporting our local sheep economy and fiber economy, and that's important. So it will be sold by Gist Yarn, G-I-S-T, and they have a really great, their mission is really a wonderful one. So buy yarn from them if you can. They sell a lot of weaving yarn. It's a weaving shop online. Other people are seeing their Orioles. I had Bullock's Orioles in my yard, and some of you, it sounds like, have other kinds of Orioles. Marlena, I don't know. She's asking if I'm going to submit a tapestry to the Small Tapestry International #7, which was just announced this past week, but all of you should consider that. So go to the American Tapestry Alliance website, look under exhibitions for Small Tapestry International. It will be the 7th one. I think I've been in 3 of them now. I don't know if I'm going to submit for this one or not, but you all should consider it. I think the submission date starts maybe July 1st and goes through mid-August. Is that right? Anyway, think about it now. It's a small format piece. It can be no bigger than 100 inches square, and no dimension can be longer than 20 inches. And I think for 3-dimensional things, they've now limited. It used to be 10 by 10 by 10, and now it sounds like it's 10 by 10 by 6 inches for 3-dimensional things. Oh, in this show, everything has to hang on the wall. So like the last Small Tapestry International, my displaced refugee blanket piece was in that show, and it was a 3D piece that sat on a plinth, and sorry, the doorbell just rang. I'm very distractible. Sorry, gosh. Gotta try to pull it together here, guys. Small Tapestry International. This show, all of the pieces have to hang on the wall. So it sounds like anyway. So anyway, no 3D pieces that sit on a plinth. So I'll have to consider that. How do you get the long fringeless warp on your pipe loom? How do you attach the top scaffold bar? Kathleen, this loom is, okay, so here's the whole loom. See if you can see it. Here's the top of the fringeless warp. The loom is about 2.5 feet long, I think. So I simply had a jig that was this long. I think. Honestly, I can't remember how I did it now. I don't think oh no, I did. I made a PVC jig. So I had a PVC jig. I didn't have one, a side piece that was that long. So I went to my handy garage and cut a piece of PVC pipe that was long enough to make the fringeless piece this long. And so just like it shows in the fringeless class I did with Sarah Sweat, um, the jig just sits inside the loom and it's tied on and it's warped just like the rest of the class. I just had a bigger jig, I guess was the short answer to that long ramble. Let's see. Angie, I like to color mix a lot of my weapons. Oh, that's a good question, Angie. Ask that in the class. That's a longer answer, and my brain's not working well enough to answer that coherently on the fly. So please ask that in the online class. It's a good question. So back to the yarn thing we were talking about. Will semi-worsted spin work? Yeah, absolutely. So those of you who are spinners and spin your own yarn, or if we're talking about buying yarn for Tapestry, semi-worsted is absolutely what probably almost every yarn that I hand spin, almost everything, even if I'm trying to do a worsted spin, it's almost always going to be semi-worsted because I once did a set of yarn with full worsted prep and I lost patience pretty quickly because full worsted prep means that you buy the fleece and you keep the locks intact. So when you dye it, you have to keep them all. You have to, figure out where the tip and the cut end of the tails are. And so I sandwiched them all in netting and to scour them. And then I can't remember. I can't remember if I spun it first or dyed it first. Anyway, it has to be spun tip end to tip end. You have to keep it in order, and you have to comb it and then spin it that way. And then all of this is ways not to get a lot of air into the yarn. And then when you're spinning it, you're not letting twist get between your fingers. That's a full worsted prep, and it's a lot of work. Spinning with a more woolen prep means you're letting the twist get between your fingers, and far easier way to spin. So yes, absolutely, a semi-worsted prep is fine. I often spin with a short backward draw, and I still, so a lot of spin is I'm letting all the spin get between my fingers. But if I choose wisely with the fleece and get my twist right, then it works out okay for tapestry. You just don't want a lot of air in the yarn. That was a great question. Yeah, this is the Epic. Here, I can show you. Someone else said Mary Lou bought some Epic. So this is the sample pack you can get from Epic, which is, I think I have a link to their website on the Change the Shed page. It's timeless/textiles.com. See if you can see that. There's their website. But this is a sample pack you can get of all of their colors. Which they so kindly sent me to try their yarn. I like it. There's not nearly enough yardage in each of these little things to make me happy. So I will have to buy more of the larger skeins, but it's fun to see all the colors in one place. That's a yarn that is sold in the US, marketed in the US, but it's spun and I think dyed in Portugal. It's a nice yarn. Okay, yeah, and I knew Janet used Epic a lot. Some of the colors are variegated, which is really cool, and they do that on purpose. So in the dye pot, another advantage of being your own dyer is that you can intentionally sort of screw up your immersion dyeing so that you get colors that are variegated. And Epic has colors that are like that in their packs. Some of them are completely solid, and some of them are lightly variegated, which gives the yarn a little bit of interest. Judy, I'm not sure I understand that question. Would you talk about the knots at the beginning of a tapestry? So I'm not sure if you mean the header or what there. I don't know the answer to that, Karen, but ask that in your online class about the warp sizes. And she's asking about a warp from Gist. As far as I know, Gist does not carry cotton seine twine. So my guess is the answer is no, and maybe they've started carrying it. I don't know. The yardage is what's important. The 12/6 that I use is about 1,800 yards per cone, which is a little bit more than a pound. So it sounds like for 12/9, that's in the ballpark, Karen. If it is actually seine twine, if it's something else, then ask in the class. Oh, Kate. So back to Small Tapestry International. She's surprised that the tapestry that I wove for Small Tapestry International 6 won the first place prize, and it was a piece that was a 3D piece that sat on a plinth. And so Kate is surprised that they're only allowing hangings. The reason it sounds to me is that they're doing a joint show with some, I think, wood turners. Anyway, it has to do with the venue. It is extremely difficult for ATA to find venues. So if you know people who own galleries or museums or community venues that want to show fiber, especially tapestry, please contact ATA because they have a hard time finding places that will take their shows. And so I'm sure that this was one of those situations where they had an opportunity and it's probably a nice space and they took it, but the downside being that the tapestries all have to hang on the wall. That is my guess. I don't think that's a forever thing. I just think it's very particular to this show because of where it's being hung. So yeah, Kathleen, different size jigs for sure. The PVC jig, which I don't actually see mine right now, but the PVC jig, you just cut longer pieces to reconfigure it. PVC is really easy that way because it's so soft. You can cut it really easily and it's so cheap that you can make all kinds of jigs really, really, really easily. Yes. Welcome, Robin. It's Canada Victoria Day. Oh, Judy. Judy, my memory's so bad. Apparently I was talking about, maybe I was talking about I was doing the finishing on the hot flash piece, which I haven't finished. So the braids, the little braid thing, I don't know if it's that once it comes off the loom. I did put the braid video in the Little Looms class now. So it's in both the design course in module 5 and it's in the Little Looms course under a section about finishing, I think. So if you have that class, you can see all the stuff about the braids. Could be the double half hitch knot. Oh, and I could have been, I'm so sorry, you guys. I can't remember what I did on Wednesday. I guess I should keep a running list of what I was working on the last time. I don't know. The double half hitch knots are also in the Little Looms class. Good morning from Idaho. Hilda, that is a great question. Are you using a cartoon for this tapestry? No, I did that on purpose. I actually did have a sketch for it. See, I do have a sketch, but I decided at some point, I don't know if this is laziness or what, but I was going to try to do this without a cartoon to see if I could challenge my brain to make smooth curves without having the cartoon to lean on. So, yeah, At this point, no cartoon. If I get in my head though, that frustrates me because a cartoon becomes something really easy to rely on. And so I would far rather have a cartoon, but I'm going to try it without. So I'm going to, because I left the rest of this white yarn upstairs, I'm going to do something. Oh, I'm going to have to go get it. Gosh golly. I'm going to put another little leaf thing right here, but if I don't get my yarn, I will not be putting that in. Oh, thanks, Judy. The double half hitch knot. She was asking about the double half hitch knot, and now I've forgotten what your question was. Really sorry, you guys. It's so helpful if you can like write what the whole question is in one place, because I honestly can't. Both my memory and the fact that these questions are scrolling so quickly means that I've lost what Judy's original question was about the half hitch knot. Sorry, Judy. The double half hitch knot I use a lot for headers, and I probably was doing it. I know that's going to have to go up. Okay, so okay, hang on. Talk amongst yourselves. The yarn is like 50 feet from here. I'll be right back. Thanks, you guys. That'll teach me for not checking everything. This is the yarn I needed. This is the yarn that Gist is looking at for a tapestry yarn. And what I wanted to do here was, so I want to put another little shape in here like this. And so I need to fill this in. I need to make the little cradle that it goes in. And obviously my yarn here is running out. So if you build up the little cradle, then you sort of can fill in the part in the middle with, and make it smoother. So I don't like that, but it might be all right. We'll just go with it. Do you have that little voice in your head that is talking all the time? I'm letting mine speak out loud, but that little, not really judgment, just like this ongoing voice of, oh, I don't like that, or oh, yeah, that looks good, or oh, that might work, I'm not sure, let me try it. That happens all day long for me. So this is a yarn I'm using it with 3 ends at, this is about 10 ends per inch. Actually, I feel like it has widened. You can see here that it's a little bit narrower at the bottom. And this is, I love you guys so much that I'm just going to admit that sometimes things don't quite work out as you want. And that, so this was 2 inches at the bottom, and it was, I think I have 20 warps here. Yeah, it's 10 ends per inch. So here's the sad truth. It has spread out by an entire 1/8 of an inch, which is a pretty big percentage if you're weaving it. This thing, this EPI. Anyway, whatever. This one will not be perfect. But this yarn, what I was saying there was that this yarn with 3 strands at 10 EPI is a little bit big. I'm just barely covering the warp. So, yeah. Thanks for being patient while I found my yarn. So the slits, Audrey, these slits, that's a great question. As I was weaving without a cartoon, I wasn't sure how far I was going to bring up this wide thing. And actually, I think I'm going to make it a little narrower here. Ideally, I would sew this slit as it gets this long. So I may go in there and I like to stitch as I go. So I may go in there and stitch it before I keep going. Sorry, I'm just doing a little splice here. I have also been practicing. So Sarah Sweat has a new little zine that she did about, it's not little, it's 20 pages. It's called Tucking the Tails, and it's about how to keep the tails out of your weaving. It's great. Anyway, I've been practicing that. Even on this piece, I was doing the green without any tails, which was fun. But I obviously didn't manage it with this white yarn. I'll work on it, Sarah. So cool. Thanks for talking among yourselves. Okay. Oh, look, Ginny, I must have I talked about the EPI before I even looked at your question. Oh, Sarah, thanks. That's the voice. She says that's the voice I have to listen to. The voice I was talking about that's always chattering. Sometimes it says stuff that's important and I ignore it. So I think that that's not so good. The monkey voice. Sometimes I think it's the monkey voice, Marlena. Those of you in the design class, I talked about a book by Danny Gregory called Shut Your Monkey. And it's about that voice in our head that's always chattering. And see, look at that. I'm gonna, Sarah, I just don't quite, Sarah's so good at this. She would pull that all the way in, I think. And it makes me so nervous, but I'm just gonna try it because I'm gonna be brave today. That monkey voice in your head, the one that is always telling you that you're no good. Sometimes it's that. Sometimes it's not a bad judgment. It's just like this constant running, like blah, 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 blah. Maybe this, maybe that. I think that voice is a nice little companion. Oh, good, Angie. I'm glad you ordered Jilly's book. Jilly Edwards has this beautiful book called Joy that was for sale a few years ago, and I managed to get a copy. It's a book about her weavings, and she found a few more copies of it. She only had 500 made, I think. So anyway, she found 50 more copies in a box somewhere, and so they are gorgeous. The book is gorgeous. So there's a book of her work, which is just beautiful. It's, I don't know if it's handbound. It looks like it's handbound, and it has beautiful reproductions of her tapestries. It's a set of yellow, largely yellow tapestries that, so the book is called Joy, and the cover's very, very yellow. But anyway, there's one last plug for Jilly Edwards. She's amazing. She's in the UK, and her book is great. She has it on her website. Oh no, Jenny, I was talking about, you were asking, I think, about the ends per inch, what the set is on this piece, maybe. I might have misunderstood that too, but um, I was just randomly talking about it before I saw your question. It's the only reason I said that. I don't know about this green line. Maybe I'll put that in again. See, there's the voice. Do I put that in or not? Do I like it? I don't know. Okay. Here's the little tricks. Like this one, if I put that green line in here, if I move this over here, I can keep weaving with it on top of the green line, which is one of the little shedding tricks that I use all the time. Where to put your butterflies so that, or your ends, so that you don't have extra tails or whatever happening. Let's try this color. I'm going to make it a little bit thinner. Maybe I'll make it a lot thinner. Let's try this. Let's try just one strand. Why not? Then I can come back with this one and weave on top. Can you see that? Let's see. I don't like that I left a little, that's going to be a little step. I don't like it. So, or I don't think I will like it. So I'm going to take it out now and move this over one more. This is a constant procedure. So don't think that just because I mean, even if I had a cartoon, I would still be doing this. Cartoons are a good guide, but even if the cartoon said to move that over there and then I saw it in weaving and I didn't like it, I would take it out right away. Okay. So let's try. Now I'm trying to remember where I started this little. I was thinking I would end it right there, but I'm not going to like that because I want this to be a little bit fatter. So I will keep going. Okay. Also, when I don't have a cartoon, I intended this to be a little tiny leaf, and look how big it's gotten. Sigh. Also, I'm weaving a lot of this eccentrically, and we'll see how that, what happens with that. Nope. Yep. All right, now let's try it. There's the hill and valley thing. Those of you in the design class, we had a part about hills and valleys. So this is a valley and this is a hill. And as I'm looking at that, it's the very next one, but the valley sinks in and the hill makes a bigger bump. And so, of course, right there, I'm like, oh, that bump is going to be too big. These are the choices we make. Okay, here's a radical idea. Let's try this. I'm going to take a strand out. What? Oh yeah, that's going to be better. Okay. Now my question is my shed right? Nope. My shed is not right. So let's fix that like this. That also gave me a little eccentric outline. eccentric outline. I've been thinking about that eccentric, eccentric thing for weeks now, and I'm quite sure that Anne, the OT, is correct, that I was an OT for 17 years, and I recall in therapy school practicing thinking about muscle contractions and eccentric contractions. So blame it on occupational therapy. I hope I didn't make too many of you say the word wrong. Okay. Yay, I'm glad you got her book too, Anna. That's Jilly's Edward's book. It's possible. Betsy and Judy are contemplating, maybe some of the rest of you know, I can search whether I have a half hitch video on my YouTube channel. I might. The title probably has half hitch in it, so go to the search bar and put half hitch and see if it comes up. Good morning, Donald. Glad you're here. Hope you have a good week. Yes, I think, Jessica, that book Joy is also, the subtitle is Yellow is the New Blue. I believe that's correct. So cool. Okay, so there it is. Well, that turned out, I think, better than I thought it might. Immediately my little judgy mind says, oh, we should have put the leaf over here and put a stem or something, but I'll try that on the next one. So I will be back on Wednesday, and I hope that you all have a good week and you see lots of birds and that you stay safe, and that even if you don't believe in masks, you consider that a mask will keep us all safe. This is my PSA. We might be able to beat this thing if all of us are willing to wear masks, and so consider it. Let's do this. So then from here, I will fill this little bit in. I will stitch the slits here because they're getting to be bigger than I like. And then I will keep weaving. So that I love this long loom. The warp, I don't know if you can see. Let's bring this out a little bit. See how easily the warp, I can pick it up. It's quite tight, but because it's so long, it's really easy to weave on. So it's quite a joy to have a significantly long warp. There, that's going to be cute. Why not? So you all, I have not, you'll say nothing about the Ross loom, Nancy. I got it out of the box and made an unboxing video. So it is on my list to, I still have to put it together and warp it up. But I am excited to see it. I have been doing the third edits of my book for the last 4 days. So you'll just have to bear with me because the book edits come first. And I will eventually get to that loom. I'm sorry that I mentioned it so many weeks ago. And I promise I will eventually show it. There was, you could look this up, Kanita Tully. I'm trying to think of what her website is. Tapestry Journeys, I think, is her website. Just put up, oh, it was a newsletter. I don't think it's on her blog yet. Never mind. If you follow her newsletter, she just sent a newsletter about the Arras loom, where she talked about unboxing it. And putting it together. So she'll have more about that also soon. And she'd be a good one to talk to about, or to watch what she's put up about the loom. I'm pretty sure it's tapestryjourneys.com. Oh wait, I have to pop that back up because now I'm thinking these could be lips, huh? Oh, that would be, I kind of like that idea. A face with lips. Nancy, no, and I'm not, I'm just saying, I appreciate you guys for continuing to bring up the Arras loom because it is a fascinating piece of equipment. So I'm happy to have you keep bugging me about it. It's, you couldn't even see that, bugging me about it. Anyway, so have a great day. Have a great week. I will keep weaving. If you keep weaving, watch for those migrating birds and wear your masks. And we will get through this because we don't have a choice. So let's make the best that we can of a tough situation. Thanks you guys so much. It's really fun to be here, and I appreciate you suffering my rambling and my forgetting my yarn and all of that. You are very sweet. So I will see you on Wednesday. Same time, same place, Wednesday morning. Have a great week.